So I hadn't been on her website in a while. Don't ask me to explain that. It's just kind of the way that it worked out. And I noticed that on mobile, our website was just terrible. It was unnavigable. So that was because of the, I don't know, the way we had it set up, I think for ads or some crap like that. I thought they were unobtrusive. They are the opposite of unobtrusive. So I was like, well, that was just dumb. So I want to make a stab at getting people back to the website on mobile to understand that we've got it all fixed up. So as a result, we decided to have this. 25% off if your total's above $100. 25% off the entire basket, regardless of what it is. Crystals, any other parts that we happen to have, watches. All of these watches are at 25% on there. This is the watch that I used in my video review when these watches were first brought out. I just don't wear it. And as cool as it is, I'm not a hoarder. So it's time to move it on. It's got everything. It's got the manual and the tags and everything. It's good to go. It never ran down for power. We got that on the website. We have a mix, as I said, of serviced and unserviced. That's a serviced 7838. This is a fully serviced Darth bottle cap. These are a Giugiaro design. He's the guy that, you know, he did all the Alien 7A stuff. So this is one of his, actually JDM versions. It's one of the ones with the PVD. And those tend to show wear. It's unfortunate because inside, this watch is actually awesome. It's really nice. I have been seriously considering just stripping the PVD. Honestly, just ripping the case apart and stripping, because then it would come down to just the blasted, you know, matte finish, and that would look pretty cool. But that watch internally, it's beautiful, and actually it's a pretty low miles watch, all told. It's just the PVD wears. Other watches. Unserviced. 7015. Original, never touched, never opened. Completely original. Original crystal. Unserviced. Needs servicing, but it can enter a collection just like it is. This is an incredibly nice condition example of this watch. And again, it's 30% off. And that's a pretty low entry point cost for getting into a Seiko chronograph. Speaking of Seiko chronographs, it's a 6139 8029. No, 8020 with a horseshoe case back. It's an early one. This is a Rally. It's got the original bracelet. Bracelet links are a little loose, though. That's going to need to be tightened up. These are a little tricky to do, but the bracelet is intact. It's unserviced. It's completely original. I haven't ever done a thing with it. A little bit faded on those hands, but easily tint those down. It's a nice example. It really is. Here we got an unserviced JDM. This is a 6106, yes? 6119, 8130. This is an early sport diver, an interesting bezel-less design. This watch has never been serviced. It needs to be serviced, but it's an, you know, especially for if you want something like, you know, dressy and vintage and sporty and vintage. I mean, the dial and the hands and the loom are really good. Case is all original polish, smooth flat faces. It's ready to go. What's our date on that? Yeah, that's April 68. That's pretty cool. I already talked about that one. SKX 041, SKX 043. I often forget. In any case, it's one of these. It's completely original to itself. I have not serviced it. I did clean the case actually, and that is a new crystal. Movement is unserviced. The watch runs well, it does, but it's past the time when it would need to be serviced, but who knows, maybe you could just get away with it. Everything screws down as it should. Case is in great shape. It's nice, nice. What else do we got on there? Well, I already talked about that one right there. I've got a couple. This is an unserviced project watch. This is it's got a complete stem with its rotating ring and the gear and the spring and everything else like that. It's a good candidate for restoration. Movement's intact. Obviously, it's a runner. You know, and you could go through and have some fun working on one of these babies. Give yourself some vintage Seiko cred. Also, I mean, look at the loom. That's pretty cool. This is a JDM 7019. Completely original. 7019 is basically like the 7S26. It's the same jeweling and everything. It's just in a slightly earlier model. That's all original, all that unfaded color, that perfect loom, completely original. And again, as we see, it's a runner. What do we got there? We got March 1972. What else we got? This is an unusual piece. I've had this for a really long time. This thing has a movement in it. This watch was made in 1938, roughly. It's first generation Landeron movement. It's called the Landeron 51, but this movement was in fact produced in the late 1930s. This was, you know, if you were going through Switzerland or something, this is one of the places, this is one of the watches you could pick up. It was inexpensive at the time. But the movement is beautiful quality, and it has a really unusual feature. The reset everything, you stop here, and then you push in the crown. Isn't that wacky? It's cool. It's got a beautiful font. You know, if Indiana Jones ever wore a chronograph, might be something like this. It's a real pretty watch. It's serviced. I'm trying to think what else I got. Oh, need a calculator watch? It belonged to a Mr. Joe Buckles, and he received it on his 16th birthday. But it's in nice shape, fully functional. Mr. Buckles shortened this bracelet thing, so you better have a smaller wrist or a replacement bracelet rather. Nice quality watch. I don't know about that one. That's one, I'll leave that there. And of course the 75.9 1/100th second chronograph. I'm stalling for time. Yeah, 75.9 680A, right? 680A. Nice watch. Again, this is in pretty excellent original condition. Look at that thing. Look at it go. They made a few different models of this one, of this movement. This one's my favorite. That's pretty cool. So you got running seconds here. That's a totaler. That's a totaler. That's a cool watch. That's a cool watch. And it's got I put a Stellux style fold on this clasp too, which I like. That's a cool watch. Look at it, it's barely faded too. Oh, and look at that on the dial. Seiko liked to do this, and they would when they would inset their registers, they'd get a bright chrome line around the inside of it. Neat little finishing piece. This is another 7A38. It's another GRO. This one's got this. It's these beautiful fall colors. I actually really like it. This is an NOS rotating ring, and it turns with clicks as it should. This is the brown PVD, and you can see it's worn. But this, again, is NOS. It's cool. This one currently has a service crystal, which is flat. They're supposed to be, originally they were slightly domed. We could talk about putting one of those in there for you. Lastly, we have another Giugiaro. These are neat. They're like this, almost like a super fall palette. Blacks and oranges and this sort of grayish brown. I think it's really cool. This is unserviced and it needs service. There's nothing wrong with it in the sense that everything is there and intact, but it needs service. The main sweep is hanging up. The watch itself, cosmetically under the dial, is great. This is an NOS rotating ring. It clicks around as it should. All the way around, just like that. This is the correct original bracelet. This watch has this brown PVD on here. And these, as PVD tended to do, it's more worn. It still has cool presence though. It's just neat. It's neat. It's a nice, if you want to get one of these and do a fixer up, this is a good one to do it with. Cool. All right, that's about it. Go and check that out. 25% off of everything. And I will go like this and say, please go buy a watch. 25% off everything.